evening, viewers, and thank you for joining the Friday's edition of the Regional News. The mother of all carnivals is on, and the government does not intend to institute any additional restrictions, despite rising COVID-19 cases. This was a word from Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, although he still called for greater responsibility among the population with the new XBB 1.5 subvariant in circulation, and daily cases forecasted to reach the high hundreds within the next 2 weeks on the current trajectory. Speaking during a media conference at the Diplomatic Center in St. Anne's, the Prime Minister justified the decision to continue with the carnival plan despite the rise in infections, laying the foundation for their decision to continue with the festivities. The Prime Minister said it's a comparatively milder virality and currently circulating variants whose threat are further undercut by a higher level of immunity among the population. The Minister of Health also said the ministry conducted a seroprevalence study last year to determine the level of immunity among the population, and it returned favorable results. He said this meant 94.7% of the samples had antibodies present through both vaccination and naturally acquired through infection. We now look at news from Brazil. Brazilian police found a draft decree in the home of former President Jair Bolsonaro's Justice Minister that appears to be a proposal to interfere in the results of the October election he lost. The proposed decree, elaborated after Bolsonaro's narrow defeat by President Luiz Lula da Silva, would establish an emergency state of defense for the National Election Authority, the Supreme Electoral Court opening the door to altering the result. The document was found when police searched the home of Anderson Torres, who became security chief of Brasilia after Lula took office on January 1st. A Supreme Court justice ordered the arrest of Torres in connection with the security failures that allowed Bolsonaro supporters to storm government buildings on Sunday, trying to provoke a military coup that would oust Lula. Torres, who left Brazil for Florida after becoming Brazilia's security chief, said on social media that the reported document was likely, among others, in a stack, being thrown out and was leaked in its absence to create a false narrative. Analysis said the measures proposed in the document would amount to an unconstitutional conspiracy to meddle in the election. Bolsonaro, who also flew to Florida 48 hours before his term ended, has still not conceded defeat by Lula. He briefly posted a video this week on social media suggesting Lula had in fact lost the election. In the run-up to the election, Bolsonaro insisted that Brazil's electronic voting system was vulnerable to fraud, although he has never provided evidence to support his claims. We close with news from Peru. Thousands took to the streets of Peru's capital Lima on Thursday in peaceful protests against the new government and president, after weeks of bloody clashes triggered by the ousting of former President Pedro Castillo left at least 42 dead. The march, organized by trade unions and leftist groups, took place without incident. The clashes that started early December marked Peru's worst outbreak of violence in more than 20 years. While Thursday's protest was underway, the Labor Minister announced his resignation on Twitter, saying the country needs an apology for the deaths and urged the government to recognize that mistakes have been made that must be corrected. He said the situation could not wait until April 2024, when elections have been proposed, 2 years earlier than required. Thank you for watching. I'm TIANA.